Guys, welcome. In this video we are going to take a look at the basics of generics. Okay, so crank up Visual Studio and let's make a project here, new project. Let's make a console application, click OK. Alright, so in the list of usings here, delete everything except the first one, and then right click and then choose add, and let's add another class here. And change the name of this class to generics, like this. Click add. And generics are very powerful because they can operate on different data types quite easily. So a single class can work with several different data types. So there's a lot of code reusability with generics. Okay, so I'll drag and place that here. First thing is, for the generics class, you can get rid of the usings. You don't need any of them. And now, after the generics, here after the name of the class, you're going to put a T like this. Okay, that T is a parameter, meaning through what different kinds of data types can be passed into the class, so the class is very flexible. Now you can say here private TX like this. So the T is the type that's yet to be determined, depending on how you choose to use the class. Alright, let's build a constructor, so public generics here, that's the same as always. And here you're going to say T and then val. There you go. So now you'll be able to type this .x equals val. The T, for example, could be an integer or a string, and so on. Alright, so let's delete that. And now let's add one behavior, one method. So we will type here public T, so this will return something of type T, whatever T happens to be, get, and then you'll say return this.x and close that with a semicolon. So this is our generics class, and notice that it says class generics with a T. That means this can operate on different data types, and that T will be passed in, and then it will be replaced here and here and here and here. Okay? Alright, wonderful. So this is the generics class. Now in program.cs you have to make use of this somehow. So what you will do is this. Let me drag this code down below, comment that out. So I have it for reference, and let's delete the portions that I don't need. And now we're going to type generics like this. Okay, and it shows up in the list. And now first we are going to operate on an integer like this. Okay, and you can say my generic 1 here equals new generics, and then int, and then 5. So first this is going to operate on a type integer y. Now 1 equals, and now you will type my generic 1 dot, and then call the get method and close the semicolon, and then console.writeLine, and the value of y1 is, put a placeholder there, and then period, and then comma, and then y1, and close out the semicolon. See? There you go. So this particular my generic 1, it says new generics and then int. So in this case, int is what will go in for the T here, you see? So this will be like a class that operates, this will say essentially private integer x, public generics, and the integer val, and you're going to set that equal to, this instance variable x will be set equal to whatever val happens to be, and then of course this will return an integer because it will be like saying public integer get. Okay, T is a type. Alright, so that is if you are using an integer. You can also do this with strings like this, okay, and now we'll say my generic 2, and now new generic string, and then hello world, close out the semicolon. So that takes the shape here. Now I can say string y2 equals, and now my generic 2 dot get, and then console.writeLine, and the value of y2 is, and then put a placeholder in here, comma, and y2, and close with a semicolon. So in this case, this will operate on strings. Okay, so I hope by now you see the benefit. This single class here can operate on different data types. That T can be an integer, but it can also be a string. There you go. So that's one of the great benefits of generics, code reusability. Okay, let's give this all a build. Make sure it takes, make sure I haven't mistyped anything. Okay, build succeeded, great. Now here's go with step into. Alright, so we're going to step into main. Alright, we're going to call that, and notice that it calls it here, like this. Okay, it goes into the body. And it says val5. Alright, and here, let's drag open the window a little. There you go. So as you can see now, T really is an integer. You see that? So that type has been set to something more concrete, specifically integer. In other words, that T is like a parameter, and then it's replaced with different ones at runtime. Alright, so that will set the value. This will call get. And again, if you expand type of variables, as you can see, T is integer, and X is 5, and it's also an integer. There you go, because it was typed right here where we typed private TX. Now T is an integer. Okay. Alright, and then display. Now we're going to call the next one here. So now if you expand type of variables, as you can see now, T is, as you can see, a string. Okay, so this simple single class here can accommodate different data types. Alright, then we'll set the value of X. Call get. Again, if you expand this, as you can see, T is a string. And then you're going to return it. And then display. Okay, the display part is not so interesting here, but what is interesting is the fact that at runtime, as you've just seen, this T is actually replaced first with an integer and then a string. I'm sure it could easily accommodate other data types, but the good thing is that this is a single class, that it works with several different data types quite easily. So reusability is one of definitely the big aims of generic classes like this in generic code. Okay? And that is it for this one. So thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video where we look at more specific cases.